Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I thought I'd show a little prop that I built last year. Now, this was like a last-minute prop that I was putting together at the very last minute while I was doing my display, so I didn't really have time to actually make a video of it. And then I ended up actually not even actually using it. What I wanted to do is I wanted to build a very like super posable armature. Because what I wanted to do is I wanted to mount this on the top of my church at the steeple, and I wanted to be able to pose it in a way where it looked like it was kind of hanging off a little bit, like it was getting ready to jump on top of the people. But I ended up not using it. But when I built this, I didn't want to have a bunch of fixed joints, like where I have like the 45s or 90s and that kind of stuff. And I also didn't want to make them to where you had to put a bunch of bolts and stuff like that in there where you had to constantly loosen and tighten, loosen, tighten. I wanted to be able to just bend it the way I want it and be done with it. So I kind of come up with this contraption right here, and I thought it was worth showing you guys, just to kind of show some of the weird stuff that kind of floats through my brain occasionally when I'm thinking about something to build. So I built this right here. It's like a very super posable armature. What I did is I used 3/4 PVC, some end caps, some T's and some 45s, little chicken wire for the chest area, and a heavy duty wire that you see me use on a lot of my builds. You'll see me use a lot. Like I use it on the Gravedigger guy. I used it for the wings for the Raven and stuff like that. You can find it in the fencing section at like Home Depot, Lowe's, and stuff like that. I always call it baling wire, but I think they call it a tension wire, and I use that. And the way I built this thing, if you kind of look at the way the shoulders constructed, you can see how I have just the caps here, the wire coming out, and what this does, this allows me to literally just bend it to whatever I want, however I want, just like that, without having to do any kind of like adjustments or loosening and tightening. I also made the neck the same way, so like I can make it look down, I can make it look up, I can turn the head to the side, I can turn the head to the other side, I could tip the waist either direction, forward, backwards. Say like you're doing something where you wanted to make it look like they were tied up, you can bend the arms in the back, like that real easily. And I also did the same thing with the legs. So you see the legs are the same way. I can just bend it straight out if I want. I can bend it forward, bend it at the knee, and back straight, bring it back forward. A lot of stuff that's really hard to do with either fixed joints or those 5-foot skeletons. Now, the way I ran this, let me get this out of the way. I took the wire, and actually each section has 2 sets of wires in it. So I actually came from here down, so it comes down, then over. And the reason I did that is you really can't have the wire run just like this, because what will happen is when you lift this arm up, it's going to want to move that arm because they would be technically connected. So no matter what you do, they're going to constantly want to do this kind of thing. So the wire actually comes up and goes up into the neck first, then comes back down and goes over. And that's what makes it to where you can move each limb individually without interfering with the other limb. Now I only have 2 wires up in the neck, but the other one is kind of capped off right here. So I have 4, essentially 2 going this way, 2 going this way. Now when you come down here to the waist area, it's pretty much the same thing. Let me bend it back a little so you can see. You see where I got the 2 sets of wires coming down here, and I have the 2 pieces of plywood here. The chicken wire. The chicken wire is for essentially the chest area. So if you put clothing on it, it fill it out. This piece of plywood right here allowed it to overlap. This one right here is so like I could take a pair of pants or something like that. I could staple it to it so it hold the pants on. But the way I ran the wire on the bottom half is kind of the same thing as the top, but a little different. I ran these ones where this wire goes like this, and then this one goes like this. And the reason I did that is I wanted to make sure that if I just went like this, that if I was moving this leg, I wasn't sure if I was going to interfere with anything else. So essentially they cross each other essentially right here, and that's when they go to this side or this side. But I wanted to really build something that I could really bend and tweak into whatever position I wanted and not have to constantly make little adjustments. And what I mean by that, like say like I had his arm up and I wanted to bend it in a little bit, and I'm looking at it, I was like, no, it needs a little more. Nope, too much. You can bring back like, perfect. It's right there. I didn't have to do a bunch of tightening, move it, tighten it, check it, move it, and then slide the sleeve over. And that was the whole concept behind it. So what I want to do now is I want to hang it in a tree real fast and kind of put it in a manner that would be kind of hard to do with a 5-foot skeleton or something with a lot more rigid kind of joints. Now, rigid joints definitely have their place, you know, like, because this wire is only going to hold so much. So, I mean, it would hold a lantern without a problem. But if you want to put anything more heavier on there, actual tightened joints with bolts would be better. But for what I was going to use it for, it was going to be like perfect. So let me go ahead and hang it in a tree and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so I got it mounted up here in the tree. You see I got the first leg sitting right here like he's using that to kind of hold himself up. You can see the waist is not only pitched forward, but it's also twisted to the side a little bit like he's turning his hip a little bit. I just put the styrofoam head up there just for essentially a reference. See, I got the other arm up here. I got it screwed off at the top. Went ahead and got that leg right there. And you see the way that leg is bent and twisted and turned to the side. You know, that might be something a little hard to do with a lot of fixed joints. And you see when you get to the side, you see how the way the arm is kind of bent, almost in a lot more kind of a natural kind of look. But this is, like I said, one of those weird concepts that kind of pops into my brain every so often. I try to make them. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work. This one would have worked. I just never ended up using it. But I thought it was worth sharing with you guys. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you like this video, hit that like button for me. Leave me a comment on what you all think of this design. Thanks for watching.